Just picked up Derek, Canadian, and I know you're probably thinking what I'm thinking. Looks a bit like John Lennon with the moustache and the glasses, but it wasn't intended, just coincidentally. But yeah, I'll just give a little background to Derek of what the channel's about. And I think we started off talking about politics. I mean, we can talk about UK politics, Canadian politics. A controversial issue at the moment is the digital ID in the UK. I'm presuming you live in the UK now?
I do, yeah.
Okay. What brought you here? A lot of people like to go to Canada.
I initially came studying. I did a law degree at University of Liverpool.
Okay.
And I actually moved over. My partner and I moved from Canada together. They work as an architect.
Okay.
So I guess initially when we moved over, I came on a student visa, and he was initially on a working holiday visa.
Okay.
So we got quite fortunate in that the architecture firm that they work for actually, I guess due to the fact that architecture was on the skills shortage list at the time, were able to sponsor him, so we were able to sort of get a visa, and we recently got indefinite leave to remain last year.
Happy days. It's so hard to get sponsors, whatever country.
We were really quite fortunate.
Yeah, no, congratulations, because I pick up so many people who try to get sponsors even when they go to Canada, or I think Canada's a bit different. I think it's easy because of the relationship with Canada and Britain.
It's quite easy to sort of get like a temporary, like a working holiday visa if you're below a certain age. Oh. That's sort of more of, I think it was 30. They may have increased it to 35.
Okay.
You can sort of apply for, it's a two or 3 year visa. I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
But it's one that's not sort of linked to employment, but doesn't count towards residency. If you know what I mean. Okay,
interesting. I thought it was a lot more simpler if you're from Britain and Canada to do
it is by and large. I think it's sort of like it's almost sort of like a lottery thing. It gets old. Still. It gets more difficult, I think, if you're above 35.
Okay.
But if you're just looking to sort of give it a try, or sort of, and I think it's kind of works the same for Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
It is one that it's relatively inexpensive, and it is technically a lottery, but I don't think most times they get as many people apply as there are actually spots, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so.
Very interesting. So is your heart in Canada or the UK now?
I think it's here.
Okay, genuinely. And is that the same for your partner? You're happy here?
Well, I think we've been here now for, almost a decade.
Okay, have you a long time then?
It was only really after getting indefinite leave to remain that sort of buying a house or anything would be possible, because without indefinite leave to remain, you're looking at needing like a 25-30% mortgage, 25-30% deposit for the mortgage, which is quite difficult to come up with, even if it's a relatively inexpensive property.
Yeah.
So it's been quite good in that we're finally in the position where we've got a house. We've been doing all the work ourselves, so I spent we had to have it rewired.
Okay.
But I've done all of the plastering and everything afterwards myself.
Save yourself a fortune.
Saved a fortune. I am utterly shattered, but we are moving in we're moving in on Saturday.
Okay, congrats. All very early days then. It's all systems go. And I'm assuming it's where I picked you up before, that proximity?
Well, no, it's where we're going right now.
Oh,
actually.
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
This is the house, well, that's what it was. I live off Park Road right now, so I sort of walked there to pick up those rugs.
Yeah, okay.
And then we're going to the house.
Okay, no. So I'm glad you're happy in Liverpool as well, and it's such a vibrant city. Compared to London, it's much cheaper. More house for your money.
And I think some of it, I moved here from Toronto.
Okay.
So I'm from quite a small fishing village in Newfoundland originally.
Okay.
It's called, it's a couple hundred people.
Okay. Very small.
So quite remote. But I was living in Montreal and then Toronto before here. And I think some of the thing that I like about Liverpool, it's a city, but it's not too big.
Okay. So you like that?
I mean, Toronto is still nowhere near as big as London, but it's 5 or 6 million people.
Wow.
And it's
a lot
quite
of people.
hustly bustly, whereas I do find that people here are not quite as stressed out most of the time. Certainly, I think have a little bit more of a relaxed approach to life and like to chat and just sort of, I think, enjoy the little pleasures.
Okay,
sometimes.
no, interesting. Don't you miss the remoteness? living somewhere with a few hundred people?
I mean, no.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up there. I lived there until I was 18.
Yeah. Well,
And then I finished school. I think some of it is people generally like the idea of the remoteness until you think like you forgot something in your food shop and it's 100 miles away, or you have a doctor's appointment and the hospital's 100 miles away.
a lot of people say that, and I think I pick up a lot of people from Wales, and they say the kids, when they get to 16, 17, 18, they want to get out.
I mean, it's absolutely stunning. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, and I do wish
Tranquil.
I won't lie. I wish that it was easier for me to go back there more often. Because even when I lived in Canada, when I lived in Toronto, getting back and forth to Newfoundland, like the cost of a flight from the UK to Toronto would be comparable to the price of traveling from Toronto to where I grew up.
Yeah. Well,
So it's one of those that I wish I could get back there more often. I wish it was closer. All of my family is still there.
yeah.
But
No.
it's one of those that even when I was in Canada, I didn't actually really get to see my family any more than I do from here, if that makes any
Because
sense.
it's so far. Yeah, no, it was like when Taylor Swift was on, there was a lot of Americans I picked up who it was more cost effective to come here than it was to visit Taylor Swift in America. Not only that, but to get tickets. So it was cheaper to come here, get a holiday and see Taylor. But no, it's interesting. A question I ask a lot of my customers, my slogans, monetize your passion, Derek, yeah?
Yeah.
So you'd explained to me about your job before, but without going into it or talking about it, most people do jobs because it pays the bills. Let's say Derek won the lottery, whether it was you or anyone else, would, for the most part, do other things that they really love and they're passionate about. Don't include travelling and looking after friends and family. What would Derek do? If you got any sparks that you'd like to devote more time to?
I mean, I think certainly I would. I think if I sort of, it's like, won the lottery or happened to find myself not needing to be particularly concerned about anything and could just sort of open a business or do something sort of like for the pure joy of it.
Okay.
I think I would absolutely love to deal in sort of like antique furniture and fittings.
Okay.
I absolutely. I've long since I was a child. My grandfather also sort of really liked antiques and sort of passed on the bug of it to me.
Okay, what type of antiques?
Just about anything really, but for me, I think I quite like a rummage, if that makes any
A
sense.
rummage?
Yeah, it's like
just
sort
you
of
never know
like-
what you're gonna get.
So it'd be one of those. It's like you could go somewhere and 99% of it is useless tat, but you don't know what you're actually going to sort of find. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think it's the history behind some of the objects
Okay.
as well.
So, have you heard of Antiques Roadshow?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
what's the equivalent in Canada?
To be fair, they do the same. I think they do a Canadian
Oh,
version
do
of
they?
Antiques
Yeah,
Roadshow.
okay,
Yeah, there's
okay.
an American one as well.
So yeah, I think like what you're saying, it's a little rummage. You just don't know what you're gonna find. There's a show I've seen on Netflix. I forgot what it's called, but it's amazing, and it's like the way you've got Bake Off and things like that. It's like an antiques one, and this guy, like expert in antiques, goes around the world. He's got teams getting antiques, phoning them up, and some of them, what the price start is phenomenal.
I know some of it for me, even with my work, it's like for a long time I worked in sort of like banking and financial services.
Okay.
In Canada, I worked for about a decade in different sort of, different banks, financial institutions.
Okay.
And I think some of it, and a major motivation for me after working for banks in Canada and here, is whilst I have full respect for people who are motivated by this. It's like I am really not. I am not motivated by maximum shareholder value or returning profit.
Okay.
I think I get much. I think, I guess, sort of nature, the public service nature of my work. I think I get a lot more value in working for something that I truly believe in. And I'm more than willing to work extra unpaid hours and do what I need to do if I believe that it's making a difference to something that I care about.
Yeah. No.
Whereas it's going to be, I said, when I worked in the private sector, it's not to say that I didn't work very hard and that I feel I wasn't very good at my job. But at the end of the day, do I really care?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do they care about me? It's
Yeah.
like, definitely not. I've dealt through corporate restructurings, and you see people get tossed out after working in places for 40 years entirely unceremoniously.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like, with any sort of, I think, organization you're working with, there can be issues or things that you would improve, or things that I think, if you were actually to speak honestly to employees of just about any organizations, they could give you a very long laundry list of very specific things that they would change to improve sort of like the nature of the organization. The one thing that I can say in this time, I do feel genuinely privileged to be able to work amongst a lot of incredibly dedicated people who care an awful lot about the work that they do and sort of, society as a whole. And as you sort of mentioned, I do think in this particular era where things have become increasingly polarized, at the end of the day, I genuinely think we all want the same thing. So everybody just wants to live in sort of, a safe and healthy environment, to not be concerned about going outside of the door, for the kids to go to the park to play, any of that. And I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that everybody who doesn't want that.
Totally, yeah.
And I think it's almost like we need some sort of a recentering to kind of reestablish what is actually sort of important here. It's like we may disagree as to the solution to this, but I don't think there's nobody who is going to be pro dangerous communities. Nobody wants that. That is not, nobody wants to, to live around a sense of lawlessness or anything like that.
To expand on that specific point a little bit more in respect to perspectives and belief systems and ultimate unity, which is something that I find based on... Are you religious by any chance?
I used to be. Not as much anymore, but certainly it's something that I do.
Would it be fair for me to say, even though you might not subscribe to a particular belief system, you believe that there could be some form of higher power at play? Without being...
I'd like to.
Okay, yeah. Because I've had this conversation with multiple people, but what I'm a big believer in, like in respect to belief systems, Derek, is that quantum physics. Yeah. So from an energy point of view, when you ask the discoveries in the last 100 years from Newtonian physics to the quantum nature of reality, which no one can dispute, yeah, everything is energy, yeah, vibration, rhythm, frequency, and I like to promote them ideas in respect to unity, because when you look at the heart and the nature of the quantum nature of reality, all you can see is unity from an energetic point of view. So I like to use the term quantum activist, because I think going back to the root universal laws of the nature of reality, then I think when you're coming and standing on a hill like that and you're promoting that type of vibration, then ultimately there can only be unity, and it just brings all of them elements of polarization together. Once again, that's just a perspective, but I just think when we're looking at it from an energy awareness point of view, I just think it's a good perspective to promote.
And I think I do think it's one of these that regardless of the issue, it's like we have a lot more in common.
Totally.
Than things that we disagree with.
Yeah.
And I think with the present sort of media landscape and social media, it's designed to just make us angry and enrage us and just show you a constant barrage of things that make you angry, because people get a lot more excited about things that make them angry than make them happy.
Definitely.
A lot more likely to share things that make them angry than make them happy.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been guilty of going down a rabbit hole and getting absolutely enraged.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I've just had to really sort of step back and distance myself from any amount of it.
Yeah.
Keep any sort of social media in quite small doses, to be fair, because it's just not, when you can identify that this is not good for your mental health or
definitely,
anything.
Yeah. I phone fast a lot. Even if the phone's on and you're not getting a notification, you're looking at your phone to where when it's switched off, it just helps a lot. So we do a lot of phone fasting. And like you say, everything can...
It's the only, one of my favorite things about being where I grew up is there is no mobile phone service.
yeah.
Which can be, I mean, it's nice. It's like when you go in for work, it's like, yes, I'm unreachable. So,
no, definitely. But I meant to mention before, I love the spark about what you were saying about, because I like to call it divine spark. We've all got it in us. Some people spark my brand, get out rat race, because a lot of people are chasing the tail, and it's hard for them to elevate to a certain level of awareness and consciousness when you've got to put a roof and pay bills and stuff like that.
100%.
But everything shouldn't be about money. A lot of people have picked up people who've got an OBE, and they feel they're here to help other people, and it's nice to capture them sparks on camera, because it shouldn't all be about money or survival of the fittest, and we need a collective approach to make our little contribution to make the world a better place.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Anything you want to say before we finish? We're coming up to your...
It's been an absolutely lovely chat.
Yeah, no.
I thank you for the opportunity to, I guess, share my opinion.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's been lovely.
Yeah, I'm going to just press stop, and I'll show you the channel,
Okay.
And as it grows, it's just good to welcome other perspectives.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.